Welcome to TwoQuestions.tv. With me today is Dr. Sandy Davidson, and we're talking about net neutrality. Welcome to TwoQuestions.tv. I'm Susan Baroncini-Moe. Joining me today is Dr. Sandy Davidson. She has a PhD in philosophy and a JD. She's a communication law expert at the University of Missouri. She's also a curator's teaching professor and an attorney for the Columbia Missourian, the web-first community newspaper produced by the School of Journalism. Dr. Davidson, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm so pleased to have you because we need to talk about this net neutrality thing. All right, so let's start with, for our viewers who may not really understand what net neutrality is, can you break it down, simplify it for us? What is it?
Yes, net neutrality is giving everybody who wants to be on the internet equality. We can all get on the internet. We're not going to be slowed down. We're not going to be blocked. It's kind of like getting on the highway. You can have access. There will not be a slow lane that you get in, and you get on the fast lane only if you pay a lot more money. It'll be everybody with equal flow if you want.
Sounds like a good thing. Why would someone, well, I'm going to ask a bonus question later now because this is a new question that's come up. So why would anyone be against net neutrality? It seems like a really good thing.
Yes, well, Ajit Pai is the FCC chair, and he says what we need is internet freedom. He doesn't like having the government in charge of the internet. So what we have is basically two conflicting models. Do we want to treat the internet like an information service, which means hands off by the government pretty much, or do we want to classify it as a common carrier? Think telephone.
Wow.
And if it's a common carrier, then the government can regulate. Now, do you trust the government more to have regulations, or do you trust the private marketplace?
Oh God, what a horrible choice. We're in trouble. Dr. Davidson, we're in trouble. What an awful decision to make.
Yes,
all right,
yes.
but it does make sense when your metaphor about it being a highway makes a lot of sense to me. It also makes sense to think of it as a service. How do people decide what side of this debate they fall on?
Yes, well, right now it is a 3-2 split at the FCC. The Republicans want the marketplace to control. The Democrats really do want more government regulation because the fear on the Democrat side is that if you let the marketplace prevail, then some of the big companies will block some of the folks. They will maybe charge more, or they'll downgrade the kind of access that they'll get. Now, we have been kind of down an interesting road with the courts getting involved too. So basically, we had a case, Verizon versus FCC, and the court said, okay, you're classifying the internet as an information service, but you're treating it like a common carrier. You have to reclassify. So in 2015, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, this isn't the first time this debate's come up.
Oh, this has been ongoing. So we've got a 3-2 split in 2015, but the Democrats were in control. And so now, Ajit Pai just said yesterday, basically, he wants to go back, explaining to the way it was before 2015. Now, I think it's interesting. Ajit Pai was appointed by Obama to be on the FCC. And then when President Trump came in, he made him chair of the FCC. So again, a lot of this is political. It really is.
It's funny, I generally try to stay away from politics, but this is a YouTube show, so I can't ignore this issue. So it's a really interesting and complicated. It's much more complicated than, does my Netflix play shows slower, or is it harder? Will it take even longer for me to upload my show to YouTube? It's much more complicated than that. So, all right, we have this issue. So some of the consequences are, yes, people's Netflix will likely slow down. It'll be harder for them. Other things will be slower for them. What other things?
Well, let's take Netflix and Google. Mm-hmm. They are, if you want, kind of internet hogs when it comes to broadband usage. Mm-hmm. So if you would take the Ajit Pai position, you'd say maybe they should be paying more of the freight. Right now, in effect, we're paying the freight. Maybe it'd be better for advertisers to be paying the freight. But do you trust the big companies? Will they do right by we little guys? So,
well,
trust more. Yes, back to that Hobson's choice.
It really is. It really is. All right, bonus round.
Okay.
Someone's watching right now, and they have listened to what we've been talking about, and somehow have made their terrible decision about who they trust more.
Yes.
What can they do to have an impact? And if they're deciding to protect net neutrality, viewers, hint, hint, what can they do to make that happen? How do they get involved?
All right. They can tell the government, they can tell the FCC their viewpoint up until December the 14th.
Oh my gosh, hurry up, people.
14th, yes, that is the big day. Now, please remember that the FCC is just an agency. It gets its marching orders from Congress. So if Congress doesn't like what the FCC is going to do, Congress can step in. It's done it before. Congress, for instance, pretty much told the FCC, we don't like changing cross-ownership rules, where it used to be that you couldn't own a broadcast company and the newspaper because we wanted a multiplicity of voices. That changed on November 16th of this year. Cross-ownership is gone. So here's the problem when it comes to the broadcast network as well, television stations. We've got changes that have come since November 16th, another change, the relaxation of the rule saying that you can't have a couple of TV stations in the same area. So now what we've got is maybe Sinclair Broadcast Group with 173 stations will be permitted to buy up 42 of the Tribune Media Company's stations. And here's the deal. It has been that there was a cap of 39%. You couldn't, if you were a broadcast company, reach more than 39% of homes. If this Sinclair deal goes through, it'll be 72% of the country will receive the Sinclair Media Group's station. So the idea that we should encourage voices and have rules for that has gone by the way. It used to be that the FCC had really strict rules on what broadcast companies could do in the market, but now it's market forces.
That's a lot of influence.
It is.
I don't care who you are, that's a lot of influence.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I guess, is there a website that I can encourage people to go to that we can, like a link we can put in the show notes for today? How can we help guide people to where they can find who they need to reach out to? Obviously, they're Congress people, right? That's who they need to reach out to.
Write your senators, write your representatives, and also write the FCC. Okay. And again, December the 14th is the big day.
And emails as good as a handwritten letter?
Or maybe do both.
Both.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
still phone calls?
Phone calls, absolutely. Any way you want. tweet, whatever is your preferred mode of communication. Get family and friends to chime in as well. We've had a lot of comments. I don't know if it will make any difference. I'm afraid maybe the die is already cast, but we can do what we can.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure that's true anyway. I mean, people have been, making their voices heard recently, and they're at least seeming to have some impact.
Yes.
And I think this is one of those times when if you're someone who doesn't usually get involved in politics, maybe you feel like your voice doesn't matter, or you feel like politics doesn't impact you directly, this is one moment. I mean,
Yes.
Let's be honest, there are a lot of moments, but this is one. If you're somebody who just sits around watching Netflix all day, or you're somebody who watches YouTube, or you have a website that you want people to go to and be able to see it with some speed, because we all know you only have a limited amount of time. So, if you're one of those people, then this is an issue that affects you, and actually reaching out to your congresspeople affects you. So in the show notes today, we are going to put links so that you can find out who your senators are, who your congresspeople are, how to get to the FCC so that you can reach out and make your feelings known. So
that sounds so good.
There you go. Dr. Davidson, I would love to have you back to talk about more things like this. It's so interesting.
I would love to be a guest again. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. And I hope our viewers have been watching and taking notes so they can express with eloquence and education their feelings. Viewers, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.